Hi, I'm Mike Richmond, publisher of Quality Digest, and I'm here at Hexagon Live 2017, chatting with Stephen Graham. Stephen is the Vice President of Marketing for Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence. Stephen, thanks for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Hi, Mike.
Yeah, hi there. So I wanted to ask you, starting out, great show, by the way. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a little bit about the smart factory and the digital thread, specifically how that functions in a strategic perspective from Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean, for Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence, the smart factory is what it's all about now. I mean, that's really our kind of key direction, if you like. And I think it's highly relevant for Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence too. The smart factory is many different definitions out of there, but smart factory is about using data to drive production is one of the key themes. And where does that data come from? Well, a lot of it comes from inspection and quality and metrology, right back at the heart of what Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence has been about historically. Mm-hmm. So it's very relevant for us.
So the hardware really is where it starts, obviously, in terms of gathering the data, and then the software obviously analyzes it and feeds that back into the hardware from there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But now, the question I had for you, though, is I've heard so much this week about software, and software is great, and the frontiers of software are incredible, the data, but is now, in a certain sense, is hardware something of a commodity, do you think?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, it remains a really key part of Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence's business, and I think always will. There's certainly no intention to move away from hardware. We find a lot of ways to differentiate in our hardware as well. We deliver performance, we have different technologies, and we're continuing to innovate and invest in R&D in that space as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just really about the combination of the two.
Yeah, but the software, I mean, the power of the software to analyze the amount of data. I mean, I think we were hearing a keynote yesterday where the term was exabytes of data, I think was the term we're looking at now.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not sure how many zeros are in an exabyte, but it's a lot.
I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of data.
Yeah.
So, but that's really what it's down to now is this idea that the software is so powerful that it's going to be able to really provide a lot of insight into a manufacturing process.
And that's absolutely what it's about. It's about gaining insights that have not been possible before. So for sure, we've been doing inspection and quality measurement for a long time already. There's a finite amount of data that an individual can process and then figure out what to do with. But by putting the right software solutions in place, now we can start to mine these vast amounts of data that we're starting to generate from the new generation of sensors and from all of the new hardware that we're putting into the factories. And so it should deliver insights and efficiencies in the factory that just simply haven't been possible before.
It's amazing. One of the really key insights, one of the key acquisitions that Hexagon's made in the past several months was MCS. Now MCS, MSC.
Yep.
So MSC is a visualization and simulation software company.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So how does that fit into the entire digital thread, smart factory of the future?
Yeah. No, I mean, MSC is a really important acquisition for us. It's really pushed the boundaries of what it is that we're capable of doing at Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence. I mean, immediately, the acquisition of MSC has taken us into new departments in our customers. We're now talking directly to the design departments, which is giving us new insights into what's going on at our customers. Similarly for MSC, they're kind of getting to see the production side of the business. So that's kind of the immediate benefit. Going forward, there's a lot to be said for combining the metrology with the simulation world. And so this hasn't really been done before, but with the metrology data, you can pull out the reality of what's been manufactured and feed that back into your simulations, either to assess the accuracy of your simulations or to move on and simulate the thing that you've actually really built. That's a new opportunity. And then as you mentioned, kind of longer term, the whole kind of simulation environment becomes an important part of that digital thread. So the designer creates a CAD file, it gets simulated. As it progresses through the production processes in the factory, it will gather more and more metadata about how the part was built, how it was tested, what the results were. All of that becomes a rich data set which can be fed right the way back to the designers or anyone else in the loop to tell them the reality of what's actually happened.
And the virtual reality piece of this as well, right? There's virtual reality that you can kind of go into these simulations as well and kind of experience it hands-on if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, virtual reality is one of the trends that we're seeing throughout manufacturing. We're showing virtual reality in some of the demos we have here at the Zone at Hexagon Live this week as well. Mm-hmm.
Now, at this show, I've been to the show for several years, and I remember in past years talking to various folks at Hexagon about the kind of the strategic dilemma of make versus buy. And there's always that idea that strategically you want to think about, well, do we want to build something ourselves that we know is a need, or do we want to go out and acquire it? So I wonder strategically, how do you know how to make that choice, and how do you learn about opportunities? Is it from customers? Is it from your own internal people?
I mean, I'd say typically the make versus buy decision, that 9 times out of 10, it's pretty straightforward. You know, we're a company that continues to invest a lot in R&D. We do a lot of our own development. If a development is pushing the boundaries from an existing product or an existing technology that we have today, if we're breaking new ground and innovating from somewhere where we have a starting point, then probably we're the best people to do that. You know, it's building on the expertise we have in-house. If we're going into a completely new area, and the acquisition of MSC is a great example of that. You know, MSC was founded in the 1960s. They're one of the oldest software companies on the planet. There's no way on earth that we could imagine trying to start innovating to build something like that. So it's very clear that that's something that we need to go out and buy. It's actually pretty rare that the decision falls into the grey area between the make and the buy. It's normally pretty straightforward in terms of that decision. Yeah.
So what are you hearing from clients at the show? I mean, there's obviously, you have so many customers here, and I'm sure you've interacted with many of them over the past couple of days. What are you hearing from the manufacturing customer base about what their needs are, how they feel that you're addressing those needs, and what they need maybe coming forward?
Yeah, no, I think the smart factory theme that we're driving this week is really hitting the nail on the head. You know, we're getting a lot of good feedback about that. You know, we get very specific requests. You know, a customer that's maybe using our one of our pieces of CAD/CAM software, and it so happens that they're also using our metrology software and maybe one of our pieces of metrology equipment. We've had sort of very specific requests about, you know, how, you know, why do I have to interact with these pieces of software twice? You know, I'm setting up a measurement program over here, and I've started with a piece of CAD/CAM software. Why can't I do the same thing on both of them? And those are exactly the kinds of ideas that we want to hear. You know, I mean, that's it's one of the purposes of a conference like this, is to try to stimulate that kind of discussion with customers. That's what we want to achieve.
And now, at the keynote yesterday, Norbert Hanke, who is the CEO of Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence, mentioned a smart factory of the future, I guess a model factory you'd say, in China, being built that should be completed in 2020. So what do you anticipate is going to be the opportunities to bring in customers and show them, as opposed to telling them about some of these solutions?
I mean, it's absolutely one of the purposes of that development. I mean, of course, the primary motivation, the reason we're building the thing, is because of the strength of the market in China and the growth that we're seeing there. But you know, the opportunity to take a greenfield site and build a new factory, as we're doing out just near Qingdao in northern China, is a great opportunity to put into practice everything that we're talking about. You know, there's nothing like being able to use ourselves as our own first customer, and so everything we talk about the smart factories, we're going to be trying to implement in that facility in China, and the whole place is being architected to be open and welcoming for customers to come and see how we do it, come and see what we're doing.
52,000 square meters?
That's correct, yeah.
65,000 square feet, something like that, I think.
560,000 square feet.
Oh my gosh, okay. That's a large factory.
Yeah, it is.
That's a large factory, certainly larger than many of your customers, but again, they'll have an opportunity to see a lot of the different solutions that Hexagon offers through that. Going back to some keynotes, because Ola, of course, does the opening keynote at the beginning of these shows. He mentioned something I thought was really, really interesting. I want to get your perspective on it. He said it's really not about data, it's about information. And you know, a lot of us use those terms interchangeably, but they're really not. So, you know, what does the information that you derive from the data really mean for a company?
No,
like
I mean,
Hexagon?
exactly as we were discussing a few minutes ago. This is the role of the software. This is what we're trying to achieve with the software solutions that we're bringing into play. You know, data has always been there. The amount of data that is coming is getting to the point where it's just unmanageable for people to be able to derive information from it. Information, I think, speaks to the kind of insights that I was talking about earlier. That's where the value is. That the data on itself is worth nothing. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. But teasing out from that the actionable information, I think that's maybe a key word. You know, kind of coming out with something that you can actually respond to and do something with, whether it's automatically or in some other way.
Seems like automated vehicles, autonomous vehicles, really are kind of the test bed for a lot of this stuff. Again, talking about exabytes of data, these huge data sets, because it's so complex. I mean, what the human brain does you know, we're not anywhere close to being able to replicate yet through software. So, I mean, again, that I guess is the idea, is teasing out the bits of data that are most important and using the autonomous driving example where there's so much going on in the field of view. Not all of that is relevant to driving a car.
Yeah.
Some of it's really relevant to not hitting anybody.
Yeah.
So again, is that the key, is to find the key pieces of data within that?
Yeah. Well, it's exactly as you put it. It's the key information is what's critical, and that key piece of information may have been derived from vast amounts of data in order to achieve that. Autonomous vehicles is a great example, but I would position it as an example and not the test bed, as you said. It's there's plenty that we can do before we achieve a truly autonomous vehicle. That's a fantastically complicated problem that's going to take many years to solve, I think.
Great. Good. Well, thank you, Steve and Graham, for joining us today. I appreciate your time, and I have a line that I've got to read. Okay, big thank you again to Steve and Graham, Vice President of Marketing for Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence. To watch additional episodes or learn more, visit hxgntv.com. Thanks for tuning in.